You know, it took me a long time to discover what I was, who I was. Um, so it was always different. I knew that. When I was growing up at school, I looked around and I thought, these other kids. Well, actually, it wasn't that they weren't the same as me. It was I wasn't the same as them. Um, and when I get into this, you'll understand when I say that I think that I'm really something special. Because I don't mean that in a bragging kind of way at all. I've got my faults, more than enough of them. And I don't get on with other people very well. And that, surprisingly, that's not my fault. Because I just can't relate to them. It's, I want to. I really do. I'd love to be the guy on the street, Joe Bloggs, whoever, sometimes just goes to work, does his job, goes to the pub, has a chat with his mates. But it doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes, I hate for no reason. I don't even necessarily think that's a bad thing. The upshot of all this, I suppose, is God. If I say it, I'm going to be admitting it to myself. I suppose I'm bipolar. I tick many boxes on a very predictable tick box list, which, as you can imagine, is disappointing to me. But there's a few other things going on. Of course there is. I have OCD. I have paranoia. And I first realised this for definite, last year when I hadn't paid my council tax and the bailiffs were sniffing about, because I was working away at the time. And every Monday morning or whatever, I'd go around manically checking all the windows were shut and checking all the this and that and the other, And believe me, I got sweat on doing this. I'd be running up and down the stairs because I'd just check something and I'd check it again. And I realised I'm not doing this because of the bailiffs. I'm doing this because I always do this. So sometimes you get these moments in life that, just make you realise things like that. It's funny. What else? I don't know how much bipolar covers about split personalities, but I figure most of you out there have realised by now that I have split personalities. If only because I can, depending on what I'm doing, I can kind of instantly change into a different sort of mode, if you like. And I don't try to do that. I don't say, right, I'm going to work now and I must be in a work mode. It's kind of, you walk through the factory doors and it just kind of happens with me. I suppose it does with a lot of people. It's hard to explain. It's not so much I must focus on work. The thing is, work becomes the focus. And it's like a switch tripping in my head, you know, like a fuse box going off or on. So I'm crazy. You know, I should have known when I idolized Howling Mad Murdoch in the A-Team when I was a kid. But like I say, there's a lot of things that you can know about yourself, and you just don't really know how far that goes. You know, and it takes little events, like the thing with the bailiffs, to make you realise that, yes, I'm this, I'm that. So that's me. And, you know, I suppose if you want, you could call it mental illness. I have a lot of problems with reality, I suppose. I don't realise when I'm running out of money, for one thing. Things like that a lot of you out there that, you know, oh, I've only got 50 quid for this week. I better, you know, cut down on my spending. That doesn't kind of occur to me. I also have problems with numbers. I think I'm numerically illiterate or something. There is a word for that. I can't remember what it is. But that's not, you know, I could use that as an excuse if I wanted to, but that's not the case. So, you know, there's an upside to this with these multiple personalities and everything, because it's like I see things that a lot of you guys out there don't see. I can read a whole newspaper article and I'll focus on one sentence instantaneously. And that's as soon as I see it. You see, that's the difference for all you media hacks out there going, oh, well, I can read a whole newspaper article and then I can go back and focus on one sentence. But no. No. I focus on the sentence as soon as I say, I don't have to finish the article. This is the point. Because that sentence kind of jumps out at me. As a for instance, there was an article in one of the truck driver magazines recently about how the EU, as it was then, 20 years ago, had effectively been responsible for the modern design of trucks. And now they're looking at, well, space age stuff, you know, because the modern design now doesn't work, apparently. Seems to work fine when I'm driving them, but, you know, whatever. So the reporter said, I tell you, no, it wasn't Truck Magazine, it was actually the BBC News. So the reporter said there's a bit of an irony here, because of course the EU had a hand in this design that we have now. And I said, no, there's no irony, because in 20 years' time, when they're wrong, I'll look back and laugh, because they were wrong the last time, because now they're saying the modern design isn't good enough. So now they're looking at another design. Do you know what really hacks me off is that we have all these unelected people making our decisions for us. And I think that goes with a lot of people, whether you're insane or not. And I think a lot of people are probably... You know, bipolar is a very big word. It encompasses a lot of different symptoms, and it's a very easy thing, in a way, for doctors to say, you're bipolar, here's some tablets. I won't take them, you know. I drink beer, so that kind of like self-medicates. And luckily I get, you know, a bit tiddly at the same time. But they are very exact symptoms. And at the time I realised I was bipolar, and again, this could be no more than a year ago, really. For definite, you know, because there'd been a lot going around in my head previously, which I just didn't quite understand 100% of. I maybe understood 90% of it, but I didn't know what to do with the other 10%. So about a year ago, I read this magazine article about this girl who was bipolar. And when you can read something like that, and the thing is just screaming at you, the article is just screaming, this is you. You know, when you read a book or watch a film, and you think, my God, bloody hell, that's exactly what I've been through. And that's what that thing did for me, you know. But again, I had the suspicions of not being there in the first place. I would have cast half an eye over it and gone, whatever. Wouldn't have paid any attention to it. So I think, you know, all of us have our limitations in this life. And I think a lot more of our lives is defined somewhere than we would actually like to admit. And saying that, it probably took me 40 years to realise for absolute definite who and what I was. But this is no bad thing, you know. Just because I'm nuts, so what? It's about knowing who you are and what you are and what your limitations are. And unfortunately I haven't quite mastered the last one yet. Anyway, this is it's just a thing, I suppose. But hey, if anyone wants to challenge me on anything, feel free. Because you know what? For all the stuff I do, for all the politics I do, anything really, I won't get into it unless I know I'm right. And if I'm right and you're disagreeing with me, that means you're wrong. So that's a bit of a diversion. I'll see how many people pick up on this, because I'm not going to publicise it at all. And if a year today it still has no views, fair enough. But I'd be quite interested to see who does actually watch it. So, Till next time.